it's a place that exploits young Asian women. According to Fox News, at one point the place advertised they had a new young massager. Massager's their word. Congressman Kine said these stories are a sad attempt to use politics in its worst way, and in doing so hurt an Asian American operated business in the process. Asian Sunny Massage runs a perfectly legitimate business. Yeah, it does. He even said he's worried about police lives because now they're patrolling the place more often, and he feels like it puts them in danger. He is a kind man. He's worried about these young Asian women trying to make money in a legitimate business, and said in this time of attacks on Asian people, it's a terrible thing to do. So ladies, if your husband's credit card ever has a charge to Asian Sunny Massage, don't you worry about a thing. Congressman Kine vouches for them. If the place gets busted, watch how quick he turns on cops. Have a good day. For nobody's Zoom on.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. We're seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area for today. Those will continue through the afternoon and also into the early evening, tapering off, though, overnight tonight. Some of those storms can be on the stronger side, and if they become severe, damaging winds and hail, all potential threats today. Highs in the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. We're drier Saturday with highs around 70. Mother's Day Sunday, beautiful with highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Wake up, kid.
What might this here be?
Is it Friday already?
Yeah, Friday it is.
Oh, thank God it's Friday, right?
And I'm also well aware that today is Friday.
They tell me you're some kind of entertainer.
Attention, everyone. The entertainment has arrived.
Do you do a lot of entertaining?
You know it, baby.
Okay, well, let's get it started then.
And you know what time it is, huh?
Sure.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. You're listening to Mornings with the LeaderMan. I'm back in the seat again today. Thank God it's Friday because I'm ready for this week to be over. I don't know about anybody else, but this morning's thunderstorm woke me up entirely too early. I see that Jeff and John both did not get today's memo. Today is National No Pants Day.
Oh, there you go.
So I see you guys didn't get the memo, which is probably a good thing because I didn't get it either till I got here. So for those who want to spend the day, the rainy day, at home in bed with no pants on, today's the day to do it.
Like a Democrat on a normal day. Yeah.
But anyway, of course, I've got Jeff in the studio here with me today now that I have caused him the giggles. Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, good morning, Moore County. Good morning, taxpayer subsidized pathetic pilot. Hey, yeah, it's a little dark, dingy, damp, and grody out there, you know, much like a Democrat's personality. So, yeah, you're going to have to take your boots and an umbrella if you're going to take a walk. And to be honest, I don't recommend it because there's some serious lightning out there.
Yes.
To drive in, woo, boy, I tell you, it's like daylight a couple of times.
Yes,
Man.
It was.
So, yeah, enjoy your day, but stay away from the windows and no walks today, man.
Start the soup so you can have some nice warm soup later. Curl up on the couch, listen to some WEEB, and enjoy your Friday. And if you haven't yet, start thinking about Mother's Day because that's on Sunday. So those folks who still have moms around they need to honor, you might want to think about that. Time's running out. I've also, of course, with me, my cohort in crime over there, John Zumwalt. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Dorothy. Good morning, Colonel. Good morning, everyone. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm standing before a crowd getting ready to make a speech. But, yeah, that lightning, I don't care for lightning. Lightning can kill you.
Yes, lightning can kill you.
I do not like it.
The only time I don't like lightning is when I'm here at the radio station, and if I'm go step outside or something, I can hear it crackle off the tower.
Yeah, we've got a big tower out there. It's
Yeah,
a big lightning.
It's a big giant lightning rod, but I can hear it crackle off the tower, and that just makes me gives me the heebie-jeebies. And no other time does it give me the heebie-jeebies except when I'm outside and I can hear it. And even sometimes before we actually see lightning, I can hear the static crackle on the tower, and it's the weirdest thing for me. All these years being here at the radio station, I still haven't gotten used to that. I know it's perfectly safe, it's grounded, and nothing's going to happen, but it still gives me the creeps.
Yep. Whenever you hear that, it's perfectly safe.
It
You
is.
do not- there's a reason they're telling you that. Like you've never in your life gone into a store.
I've been here like almost 10 years this year, and
Are you determined to not let me ever finish the sentence again?
Yes, I've been here 10 years. It's perfectly safe. I've been through many thunderstorms, but it still gets to me.
But it doesn't mean it's perfectly safe just because it hadn't got you yet.
Yeah, I know. Maybe my time is running out.
Steve,
maybe today will be the day.
Steve might be here next year going, we used to believe this place was perfectly safe.
Steve will come in on Monday and be like, well, that conversation on Friday, guess her number finally came up because the lightning got her.
Wait, you remember that thing we couldn't figure out in the yard what it was? That charred?
That was strange burn mark.
That was Dorothy, it turns out.
Whoops.
You know what the worst part of lightning is for me? Is when I compare it to sitting in a movie that's a scary movie, and maybe you don't even know it's a scary movie. Well, you'd have to be an idiot not to know that. And all of a sudden, they got you. Something jumps out. That's what I hate about lightning, especially when I'm asleep. When I'm asleep, I do not expect for there to be a boom. I'm not laying there asleep going, all right, any minute. And, man, I come like 6 feet out of my bed.
Yeah.
Rattling the rafters, the windows, the floorboards, and everything else.
Yeah, my cats were running all over the house this morning, all freaked out.
How many do you have?
I have 3.
Okay. You're the cat lady.
Hey, at one point I had 9.
Well, you were the crazy lady.
The crazy cat lady.
Yes, right.
Crazy cat lady. Remind me not to mess with Dorothy anymore, because these women who keep a lot of cats, and all you women who keep a lot of cats, yeah, that's right, I'm talking to you. They will hurt you.
No, just throw my 18-pound cat at you. It'll be all right.
You read in the paper from time to time, a body was found in Mrs. Wilson's house, or actually 3 bodies. She had 14 cats and 6 dogs and 2 goats, and I don't want to mess with them.
Well, yeah, you talk about that. There was an article not too long ago. Some guy was being harassed or something. There was a cat sitting there next to him, so he just grabbed the cat and threw it in this guy's face.
Oh, man.
And that was it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they arrested him. Assault with a deadly weapon.
No kidding. I'll imagine typing up that police report.
Well, what you got, Dorothy?
Well, I gave you my thing for today. National No Pants Day.
Well, you know what? As luck would have it, I have my little computer thing here.
I see that.
A lot of people call it a phone, but it's a computer that you can talk on. And, you got me interested in this National Day, and there's some pretty good ones here, like National Provider Appreciation Day. I'm not sure what that means, but
Yeah, I saw that one too.
National Barrier Awareness Day, which sounds like, I thought it was going to be aware of a barrier in the street. It's a day that you're aware of removing barriers for people who can't, have in wheelchairs, and think about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But here's one I don't really know. I'm going to have to click on this. It's probably going to be some heart-wrenching, but it's School Lunch Hero Day.
School Lunch
and,
Hero.
Huh?
School Lunch Hero.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm looking what it
Is that
means.
a video game or something?
No.
No, it's honor the food service employees. That's what you do. You honor the food service employees. That's okay. That's a pretty good
I guess
thing.
that's a little bit better, more PC topic than school lunch worker or lunchroom lady.
Right.
Well, I'm surprised they don't call them astronauts the way we've got, so that we're like, don't call them a school, what they call lunch lady.
Yeah.
You have to call them an astronaut now because it's very offensive, and we finally worked our way up.
It just seems like a weird title for it.
There's a whole thing here. I mean, my father was a workman. You've got all these people that do all kinds of things that kind of go unappreciated, unnoticed,
Yeah.
And just to name what, my father was a plumber. Mm-hmm. All right, and you got all the big brain types, Bill Gates and all these clowns, et cetera. All right, well let's turn the water off and clog up the toilets, and nobody's going to come and fix it for you.
Right.
See how long you really enjoy that.
Oh yeah, it's the unnoticed jobs, the garbage men, the plumbers.
But the ones that really make civilization.
Right.
That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point. It's those that you don't notice them,
right,
but you would certainly notice them in a heartbeat as soon as they were gone.
Yeah, none of this exists without all that infrastructure. And I'm just focused on the plumbing, but there's a whole bunch of them. The guys that run the electric lines, the guys that frame, all carpenters, all those manual labor kind of things, that skilled labor kind of things, manual labor kind of things that people just don't appreciate.
No.
I appreciate plumbers. I used to work for a plumber in high school, one of my all-time heroes. I'll tell you who else I appreciate. I appreciate the lunchroom people, because I think all of us, well, I don't like that word heavy or fat. I prefer husky. All of us husky people like that. In fact, today is, as luck would have it, is National Roast Leg of Lamb Day.
Oh,
let me go buy a leg of lamb on the way home.
We can go down to the India Diner here. They have that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I feel like I'm reading the high school cafeteria. Like, okay, this is enchilada day. Tomorrow's National Leg of Lamb Day.
Yeah.
Do you guys go and buy? I've never, in my life, because of growing up in South Texas, we never did go buy a leg of lamb. Do y'all do that?
Buy a leg of lamb?
Yeah, buy a leg of lamb, cook it.
Not in a long time. I've seen it. I've had it. Yeah.
I've done it a couple of times, but lamb is so expensive.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's not really in my budget, but on a treat sometime we'll do it.
I like to buy a leg of chicken. You ever heard of that?
Yeah. It's a little bit more of my price point.
Yeah, it's called Buffalo Wild Wings. Now.
Yeah.
They sell legs chicken too.
Want to remind everyone that Judge Richard Dietz will be here in a little bit. He'll be here at 8:30. He's on the Court of Appeals right now. He's running for the North Carolina Supreme Court.
Yes.
And we've had some wonderful luck getting some really great conservative judges on the Supreme Court. We need to keep on doing that.
Yeah, we had that. Just I hate to interrupt you. You took a breath. Hey, we had a huge turnout and a huge success rate on courts last time around. We need to continue that. We put 3. You were going to say it, but 3 great judges in the Supreme Court. We need to get a couple of more. And
don't forget, Judge Newby barely made it. If not for the great turnout in Moore County, we could argue that he wouldn't be in that seat right now.
Yeah, they fought that tooth and nail, but he won.
And I'm going to ask you to do something. I would say for me, but it's not for me. It's for you, and it's for this state. Judge Dietz will be at the marketplace about 9:20, right after we get through here. I really wish you'd come out. In fact, I'll buy you a cup of coffee if you'll come out and visit with Judge Dietz, meet him, ask him questions. Jeff said something yesterday. I can't remember what it was, but challenge him, in other words. That's why he's there. Yeah. And he's glad for you to do that.
Yeah. Any candidates that we have that we bring on for an interview, that's not necessarily an endorsement. Take them over there and ask them hard questions. Maybe that's not the right guy, but I don't know. But we're going to interview him here, and then you have an opportunity to ask anything you want, and I'm sure he'll answer. Every one of them went over there, answered.
And we have one caveat with our judges. We know that they can't answer any questions that involve a case that they may be involved in.
Yeah, don't ask them to get off a traffic ticket, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, really.
Steve won't be there, so he'll be all right.
And speaking of Steve, hopefully, if it's best for him, and that's what we're interested in, we'll be back Monday. Mm-hmm. Everyone misses him. Everyone's looking forward to him coming back. The show will be up to quality again when he gets back. It'll be him and the Colonel and Dorothy running things from afar, so it'll be great.
Dorothy will be sleeping in on Monday, I hope.
So, well, okay.
You'll be taking the week off.
After these last 2 weeks, I need a vacation.
All right, well.
These have been long weeks for me. Long days.
Yes,
day after day after
imagine.
day.
Yeah.
You've worked hard, and I think I speak for everyone when I say there's nothing I'd like better than letting you gripe about it all the time.
Hey, shoosh, you're retired. I don't get to retire yet. I'll retire when I'm dead.
No, I'm kidding, Dorothy. Because when you say something bad about Dorothy, the whole audience turns on you.
Oh
They
yeah,
turn on
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
And
true.
it's like if I say something bad about the Colonel, they turn on me. The number one question I get is, what's the Colonel like? Who's the Colonel? I mean, do you ever get to eat with the Colonel? Well, sometimes he'll let me. In fact, what other question do I get? Does the Colonel ever beat you up? Well, daily. I'm tired of it.
You are our verbal punching bag, John. Did you not know that?
Oh, I did, but luckily I came armed.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, you ready?
I've been ready.
Well, I've been ready too, but I can't get the.
Okay, I'll shut up.
No.
I won't talk anymore.
Okay. All right. What we've kind of narrowed this down as to what we do is just pick some headlines that hit my eye and talk about them. Some are ridiculous and some are pretty serious. So, you know what we forgot?
What did we forget?
There's going to be a school board meeting on Monday.
Oh yes.
This may be the most important school board meeting you could ever attend. I don't think I'm over-exaggerating. Do you, Jeff?
No, no, you are not. Definitely not.
I think that you should be there. I think you should sign up to speak. We're going to be talking about the critical race theory.
Right.
Now, this is a national story now, and you can read about it. 3 of our school board members are dedicated to not allow it to be here. And, of course, that would be Hensley.
Philip Holmes and Bob Levy.
Yep. And the others we're not sure about. I'll give you a good example of what I'm talking about. Sleepy Ed Dennison posted that he is definitely against it, will not allow it to seep in, and will vote against anything that has to do anything to do with the critical race theory. We'll see. We will see.
Tomorrow or Monday.
Monday. It's important that you be there and let them know how you feel about this. They are going to do what they want to do unless they have pressure from you. So just let them know. They work for you.
Right. And the purpose of the meeting, or the purpose of this particular agenda item, is to put a policy in place. It was authored by Bob Levy to specifically state that Moore County school system will not implement or instruct in regards to the critical race theory, et cetera. And, like you said, three have said that they'll vote for that. Others have said, well, we don't support critical race theory, but, we see no need to vote or, to put in place a particular policy against critical race theory. And which was pointed out last night in other places that, well, if you won't vote to put in a policy, then you're for it. And that's where we are. So you need to show up on Monday and support Bob Levy's motion there.
And that was very well put. If you will not vote to ban it, then you are in favor of it.
Right.
And another reason why you need to come meet these judges, and like Judge Dietz at 9:20, is because that's where we're losing a lot of things. We voted for voter ID, you recall, and the judge overturned it. Ask him questions about that. Ask him how he feels about activism from the bench.
Right.
and things like that. Okay. One of my first story here is I think a pathetically sad one. A prosecutor, and by the way, the DA in Los Angeles ought to be fired. The DA there is often dropping cases against liberals, terrorists, activists. When I say activists, I mean people breaking windows and things. Anyway, and is not allowing one of her assistant district attorneys, or his assistant district attorney. Let me just read this to you. A prosecutor with the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office is blasting DA George Gascon's Thursday decision to drop the bid for the death penalty in the case of a woman and her boyfriend accused of torturing and killing her 10-year-old son. And before I tell you the rest of this, a lot of you don't believe in the death penalty, and there's nothing we could ever say or do to convince you that you should. I get that. I understand that. But these folks have the death penalty, and if you're going to seek the death penalty ever, this is a case you should seek it in. And by the way, if you're the district attorney and it's appropriate for the death penalty to be handed out or gone after, shame on you if you don't go after it. People elected you. And again, that's another good thing about a case to make about a liberal judge who legislates from the bench. If it's lawful and if it's called for, I don't understand how you could rule differently if you're ruling with the rule of law, unless there's something that I don't know about that requires different. Anyway, this little boy, this precious little boy, and when I say precious boy, kids have no choice. They have no choice but to look up to their parents for protection. And if a mean man comes up to them, their first instinct is to just take their parent's hand and get behind them and let that parent take care of them. I can't imagine anything worse than a child being with his parents, the only people who can protect him on this earth when they're alone. And they whipped him repeatedly. It sounded like all day long, every day. Dropped him on his head repeatedly. Rubbed hot sauce, poured it in his face and eyes, his mouth. I'm not going to keep going, but the world is getting there's something wrong there.
The
Demons.
mother did that to her own kid?
Yeah, the mother and the father.
And the stepfather, or was it the actual father?
That was her boyfriend. It was a woman's boyfriend, but I still yeah, you wish you could just be there to kick the door open with a baseball bat in your hand and just worry about the consequences later to save that little boy. And speaking of children being abused, this is a story that won't go away. It'll be there tomorrow, the day after, but it'll be a different name, and it'll be someone that we don't know about because we don't hear about this. Just every once in a while they catch one. A professional golfer named Daniel Bowling. In the first place, I don't think it should be a golfer named Bowling. I think
I agree with that one.
Yeah, you should have to bowl. But anyway, this guy, this despicable man, was arrested in Orlando after he was trying to make a date online with a girl, and he did. He showed up with a girl who was 15, and she was an undercover police officer actually. This guy's a Canadian-born. He's a pro golfer. He contacted a decoy on Ad Chat in April, and his conversation with the decoy, who was posing as a 15-year-old girl, quickly turned sexual. Now, you guys ever watch that? What was it, Dateline? Where they bring those men would come in and they thought they were meeting a 12, 13-year-old girl.
Oh, yeah, and it was cops and the press. And
I didn't see that.
That was the most amazing show to me, because these guys would show up with a 6-pack of beer, and one guy walked in the living room naked. Did you see that one? And there's the cops.
I didn't.
Oh, there's the reporter. And I'm thinking, here's what got me about it. And if you find this offensive, folks, I'm so sorry, but here's what got me about it. It wasn't like these guys went out patrolling with this girl on the back of a car saying, here she is. They set up a website that looked like a kid's website, and the police officers got on the line, and they didn't even advertise or anything. The men would just find them in these little chat rooms. And these grown men would find these little girls in the chat rooms and try to communicate with them. Well, luckily, in some cases, there were police officers there. And imagine if the police officers caught the hundreds they caught, imagine how many thousands they miss. Yeah. And these guys would drive 4 or 5 hours, and they would meet these, what they thought were little girls. They would go in the room, and the reporter would talk to them for a few minutes and ask them some questions on national television, and then they would go outside, and there are the police to arrest them. But you know what? I don't know what to say about it, because I don't understand it. I don't know why the the pull is so strong that in this, but it's an awful thing. And
well, I think that was part of what we discussed last night. You know, there's all kinds of education, you know, and indoctrination and putting this idea out there, you know, that gives people leeway to do this stuff.
Yep. And all the grooming that goes on.
Right.
Did you hear about the bank robbery yesterday? The guy was trying to rob a bank in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
How do you say that?
Minnesota.
Okay, Minnesota. That's why. Never mind. But there was a hostage situation. Bank robbery went bad, and there was a hostage situation. First of all, I know that criminals are stupid. They're just stupid. Now the ones that are not stupid, we've never heard of.
I say the smart ones don't get caught.
Well, it's not like the movies where all the criminals are these mastermind geniuses. No. Yeah. The ones that we're talking about don't make good movie scripts.
Yeah.
Well, apparently this guy did not come down on a rope from the ceiling with a bunch of laser beams all around him. and they always look like criminals too. I mean, but here's the thing: this guy took 4 hostages. And all of them were released. No one was hurt. But I just can't help but wonder, of all the things you can do as a criminal, you could be a shoplifter, probably have a good shot of getting away with that. If nothing else, you could run. But I'm thinking by the time you have 4 hostages in the bank and the police surround the place, it's got to be looking pretty bad. I mean, the odds of you getting away are pretty...
You wonder why that thought doesn't kick in at some point that, you know, maybe I failed.
Well, I think it's 4 words for these guys that might help them in their future endeavors when they get in the bank with a bunch of hostages. These 4 words: there's no helicopter coming. They're not going to bring you a helicopter. You're not going to be going to some place that doesn't extradite.
Yeah, you're not going to some small island somewhere that nobody knows where you are. It's not happening.
No.
You're not going to spend the rest of your life on a little island with all this money as you know, I don't know.
That was a movie with Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
You're going nowhere.
Yeah.
You might as well forget it. I mean,
they've got a car for you. I'm pretty sure it's not the car you want, but they got a car for you.
The only way that you're going to be able to spend any of that loot that you're surrounded by is if you open that bank door and you run as fast as you can next door and buy a candy bar.
Yeah.
Other than that, you are done.
Yeah.
I don't know why they allowed that to happen. How are we doing on time, Dorothy?
We still got a good 3. Yeah,
2.5,
3 minutes.
Did you read where White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has admitted in a CNN podcast that they don't like President Joe Biden taking impromptu questions from reporters?
Yeah.
I missed that.
She said,
"True."
He ran into a reporter and he screwed everything up, and Psaki laughed it off and said that he takes the question, but that had happened after he had already left work and he was headed back to his residence. Now we have a president of the United States that doesn't have enough sense to walk down the hall.
He's incompetent.
Incompetent and incontinent both, probably.
Yeah.
So,
well, likely, but incontinence has got nothing to do with being an effective president.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, it kind of does a little bit. I mean, like when Putin's over there in Russian going, and that in Russian means, did he just pee all over himself? I mean, that means it's like Putin's like, you know, I don't think I'm going to take him all that serious. Hey, what is rheumatology?
Rheumatology? I have no clue.
I know this, but I'm not.
Well, someone knows what rheumatology is. A lot of people do. San Francisco just lost an $11 billion, let's see. Yeah, about $11 billion. It says in the paper here, in travel and tourism. That couldn't be right. That's what it said. Because of they've lost the American College of Rheumatology. They canceled their convention. They're saying it was because of COVID, the city is, but it's not. It's not. It's because of doo-doo on the sidewalks, needles, bums everywhere. All the hotels are full of homeless people. That's why they lost it.
Yeah.
And San Francisco better wake up.
It's too late for San Francisco. And,
All right.
Best they could do is run fire trucks up and down the street and just,
Yeah,
wash it downhill.
The racists. And that reminds me that a student or faculty at Northwestern University wrote an article that when white people walk on the sidewalk, it's racist.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm tired of being called a racist. You ought to be tired of it, too.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. We're seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area for today. Those will continue through the afternoon and also into the early evening, tapering off, though, overnight tonight. Some of those storms can be on the stronger side, and if they become severe, damaging winds and hail, all potential threats today. Highs in the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. We're drier Saturday with highs around 70. Mother's Day Sunday, beautiful with highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sandhills, 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A middle school student may be charged with attempted murder in Rigby, Idaho.
A 6th grade female student retrieved a handgun from her backpack. She fired multiple rounds inside of the school and out. She injured 3 people. 2 of them are students, and 1 of them is a school employee.
Jefferson County Sheriff Steve Anderson is heard on KIFI TV, says the victim's injuries are not life-threatening. A teacher disarmed the girl, holding her for police. So far, no word of a motive. Police in St. Cloud, Minnesota say the man who took 5 hostages, holding them for hours at a local bank, is no stranger to law enforcement.
We have had numerous contacts with this individual dating back at least a decade, including violent crime.
St. Cloud Police Chief Blair Anderson on KSTP TV says all 5 of the hostages were released or managed to escape unharmed. Apparently, the suspect, 35-year-old Ray McNeary, got into some kind of dispute with bank employees before police say he took the hostages. He was arrested without incident. Wyoming Republican State Representative Chuck Gray welcoming Congresswoman Liz Cheney's pending ouster from her GOP leadership post in the House.
Liz was the first one there eating up this narrative and going along with this impeachment narrative, betraying President Trump, the enormous work that President Trump has done for our country, for Wyoming.
Gray says Cheney doesn't represent us in our Wyoming values. After getting a tip, police responding to a San Antonio truck stop say they found a trailer of an 18-wheeler packed with suspected illegal immigrants being smuggled into the country. A number of them took off. Wall Street, Dow futures up 109 points. NASDAQ futures 27 points higher. S&P futures up 9 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
As a follower of Christ, you are created and called for greatness, now more than ever before. In his powerful sequel to the bestseller Kingdom Man, Tony Evans' Kingdom Men Rising calls men to break free of apathetic faith, to take a stand, do more than just exist. You have been called to rise up and influence those around you. Discover how when you get Kingdom Men Rising and learn the art of intentional impact.
New from Tony Evans, sponsored by the Urban Alternative.
As the coronavirus continues surging out of control in cities and towns across India, the country's highest court has chimed in on the government's handling of the pandemic.
The Supreme Court told the government that it must comply with a previous ruling to supply 700 metric tons of medical oxygen to the capital, Delhi, every day. Lawyers for the Delhi government said that still isn't happening. The court also ruled in favour of another state, Karnataka. It upheld a High Court order that Karnataka's daily supply must also increase. The central government argued that if high courts in every state passed similar orders, the system would become unworkable. India's healthcare system is overwhelmed. Many hospitals repeatedly say oxygen stocks are dangerously low.
The BBC's Jill McGivering. Elsewhere, hospitals in southern Egypt have been flooded with COVID-19 patients as the virus spikes for a third time in various parts of the country. News and analysis at townhall.com. Well, we now know of at least one person who will not be running for mayor of Atlanta next time around.
In a surprise election year announcement, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms has disclosed she will not seek a second term. Bottoms made the announcement in a lengthy open letter and accompanying video Thursday night. The 51-year-old Bottoms, who narrowly won a runoff election 4 years ago, was Atlanta's second black woman executive. Bottoms wrote that she prayed over the decision with her husband Derek, who's an executive at the Home Depot. I'm Mike Gracia.
The president of the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee says it would be quite tough for IOC President Thomas Bach to make a planned visit this month to Japan, with the state of emergency order being extended by the government to Tokyo and other areas until May 31st. Canceling the trip could be embarrassing for the IOC and local organizers who say they can hold a safe and secure Olympics in the midst of a pandemic. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We're proud to be working with our local businesses for the greatest comeback of all time.
Come together.
With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
When you're ready for your next painting project, there's only one place to go for high-quality products. JB Short Carpet 1 in Southern Pines carries premium Benjamin Moore paints for any type of project. Benjamin Moore offers unmatched color and durability, so color will last for years to come. And when you shop JB Short Carpet 1 in Southern Pines, you're not just improving your home, you're supporting a local business too. Benjamin Moore, for everything that matters. JB Short Carpet 1, Highway 1 North between Southern Pines and Bass, or on the web at shortcarpet1.com.
Aberdeen Prescription Shop is now open to walk in the shop, and the drive-through window and free delivery is still available. All major insurance is accepted, including TRICARE. Order your prescriptions online at aberdeenrxshop.com and click on mobile for the free app, or call 944-1313. Aberdeen Prescription Shop in the Town and Country Shopping Center on US 1. Now open for walk-ins, and wear your mask.
Just what the doctor ordered. Carolina Air Comfort and Safety, because we care. Clean, professional heating and cooling. Carolina Air, the friendly guys. Service, installation, and regular maintenance. Unbeatable, dependable every time. So CarolinaAir.com. Carolina Air Comfort and Safety, because we care.
Warmer weather is on the way, but don't sweat it. Carolina Air has got you covered with our extensive 32-point inspection, so you can prepare for the summer months ahead. Your HVAC system needs regular maintenance to keep it performing at its best, so go online to CarolinaAir.com or call 910-684-3864. That's 910-684-3864.
Carolina Air Comfort and Safety, because we care.
Aaron Cooper here with Cooper Ford, your only locally owned Ford dealer in Moore County. All of us here at Cooper Ford are proud to announce we have been awarded the Elite President's Award by Ford Motor Company. Presented to only 10% of all dealers nationwide for excellence in both sales and service customer satisfaction. Treating others the way we want to be treated is how we do business here at Cooper Ford. Located in the heart of Moore County and only minutes from anywhere. So please come see us here in beautiful Carthage or visit us on the web at cooperford.net. And as always, working really hard to be your hometown dealer.
My name is Tony Keith of Keith Hardware in Carthage, North Carolina. I'm the third generation of a family-owned business. We've been in business for 83 years. We sell live bait, crickets, minnows, and worms, fishing tackle, nuts and bolts and screws by the piece. You can still come in and get nails weighed out by the pound, or ones or twos, however you'd like.
The guys, they know what they're doing. You don't have to ask for service. You tell them what you need. If they ain't got it, usually they can conjure it up.
Keith Hardware has been a tradition in this town for as long as I've been in business, 42 years, and they run a good business and they're good people.
I came in with 2 pieces of plumbing. I handed it to this guy, and he took off the back and picked it up and brought it back. Their knowledge is invaluable to me.
With Keith Hardware for 28 years. I rent the building from them next door. And Tony and Ginger are doing an excellent job. I'm proud of them.
Come visit Keith Hardware today at 207 Monroe Street in Carthage.
We're just an old-fashioned hardware store.
At
NCN News. I'm Mike Rayleigh. It was a difficult day in Watauga County on Thursday as 2 police officers were laid to rest a week after being shot during a welfare check. Sergeant Chris Ward and K-9 Deputy Logan Fox were shot and killed by 32-year-old Isaac Barnes last Wednesday at a home in Boone. During a ceremony, Watauga County Sheriff Lynn Hageman said the maintenance of law is hard and a daily labor.
For our servants, life presents challenges, suffering of accidents and illness, and even the loss of life.
The family of Andrew Brown Jr. and at least one of their representatives will soon be able to view 5 videos from the morning Brown was shot and killed by deputies in Elizabeth City. Harry Daniels, an attorney representing the Brown family, told WITN.
So we would actually get a full vantage point of the officers who actually engage Mr. Brown.
Texas looks to be the next state to revamp voting laws. The Texas House advanced a bill early this morning that lowers initially proposed criminal penalties for voting errors, gives partisan poll watchers more power, but makes it easier to remove them for disruptions, and bans election officials from sending unsolicited absentee ballot application. CBS News correspondent Adam Brewster.
The bill needs another vote in the Texas House before it goes back to the state Senate. The Senate approved a version of the bill last month that included several more controversial proposals, but it's unclear if those will be added back in.
A significant tremor shook the Reno, Nevada area last night after a 4.7 magnitude earthquake hit the Truckee, California area. Mark Carden, a resident of Reno, felt it.
I walked into my sister's room and she was super startled. She was shaking and her TV was on the floor.
Authorities in North Carolina have charged more than 50 people and seized 60 vehicles as part of a crackdown on illegal street racing in Charlotte. You're listening to NCN News.
If the power goes out for your business, are you prepared with a backup? Without electricity, security systems go down, refrigerated items spoil, and customers are turned away. In other words, your business loses money. Control your power. Control your business with a Generac automatic standby generator. Alternative Power is North Carolina's Generac generator experts. In fact, all Alternative Power does is provide backup power. Financing options are available. See more at alternativepower.com.
If you still need health insurance, listen up. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina wants you to know that you don't have to pay a lot for a reliable plan. In fact, with new federal subsidies, more people than ever will pay $0 a month. You heard me right, $0 a month. So go to bestwithbluecrossnc.com to get a free rate quote. That's bestwithbluecrossnc.com. Premiums depend on plans available in your area, including subsidies determined by the federal government. The North Carolina House has approved legislation barring abortion providers from performing the procedure if a woman's decision centered on the unborn child's race or a Down syndrome diagnosis. A federal appeals court has overturned the fraud and taxation conviction of a former Florida congresswoman. More from Orlando and CBS's Peter King.
I walked into my sister's room and she was super startled.
Corinne Brown was convicted of running a charity scam in 2017, but appealed, saying the judge wrongly dismissed a juror who said the Holy Spirit told him Brown wasn't guilty. The juror repeatedly had told the trial judge he was basing his decision on the evidence, and the appeals court ruling says his dismissal deprived Brown of her rights to a trial with a jury of ordinary people. Brown was tried for using an alleged charity foundation as her personal piggy bank. She served 24 years in Congress and just over 2 years in prison when she was released because of the pandemic. Now she'll get a new trial. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
Governor Roy Cooper's office says his ruling regarding an eviction moratorium remains in place despite a federal ruling in Washington, D.C. Triangle attorney J.B. Poland tells ABC 11 many families are getting by based on stimulus money from the government.
The inability of a landlord to be able to force you out during a pandemic, I think, was life-saving for people.
You may have to put that cruise on hold this summer. Correspondent Diane King Hall has that.
If you were hoping to book a cruise for the summer, you may have to hold off longer. The head of Norwegian Cruise Line said in an interview with CNBC he doubts the company will be able to set sail from U.S. waters in July, and August doesn't look promising either. The CEO said the requirements outlined by the CDC are more stringent than any other industry.
Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
Good morning and happy Friday. We're seeing some showers and a few thunderstorms around the area this morning. More rain and storms across our area for midday through the afternoon today. Some of those storms can be on the stronger side, and if they become severe, damaging winds and also hail, all possibilities this afternoon. Highs today staying chilly, though, back in the mid-60s for today. Drier overnight tonight or in the mid to upper 40s Saturday morning. Mostly sunny sky and pleasant Saturday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And now for your Sandhills news. An Aberdeen woman and a Sanford man have been arrested and accused of staging a wreck to collect money from an insurance company. North Carolina Insurance Commissioner Mike Causey Wednesday announced in a press release the arrest of Ushawn Johnson, 24, and Elizabeth McCall, 24, of Tinderbox Court in Aberdeen. Both were charged with insurance fraud and attempting to obtain property by false pretense, both felonies. Special agents with the Department of Insurance's Criminal Investigations Division accused the two of attempting to obtain an insurance claim payment from Rep West Insurance Company by claiming that Johnson was injured and his 2008 gray Infiniti G7 coupe was damaged in an accident with a U-Haul truck driven by McCall. The damage to Johnson's car was pre-existing, and the accident was staged, according to the criminal summons. The offenses occurred in Sanford in 2019. Most North Carolina adults have received at least one COVID-19 vaccine shot. The State Department of Health and Human Services revealed the updated figures on Thursday. Elderly residents have overwhelmingly gotten the vaccine, with nearly 3 in 4 adults, 65 years or older, now fully vaccinated. Participation among younger residents, especially those between the ages of 18 and 24, is lagging behind. Those under 50 are also underrepresented in the vaccine adoption rates. Democratic Governor Roy Cooper and state health officials hope a message of a return to summer and easing of mask mandates as more people get vaccinated will provide a strong incentive for residents to come in for their shot. Lorenzo Engel of Southern Pines and Judy David of Hamlet were arrested on drug charges Tuesday following a search in Southern Pines, said Moore County Sheriff Ronnie Fields in a news advisory. Cocaine, marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and $1,700 in cash were confiscated after deputies presented a search warrant in the 1600 block of U.S. Highway 1 South. Fields said the warrant was obtained after the conclusion of a drug investigation. And that's your WEEB local news this morning from Sandhills Sentinel. Go online to sandhillssentinel.com for more information.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. Nikola Vucevic had 29 points and 14 boards for the Chicago Bulls, who breezed past the Hornets 120-99 last night in Charlotte. Head coach James Borrego on the tipping point in last night's loss.
Third quarter, cost us 37 points in the third quarter, just too many. Couldn't get stops, not enough stops. We only had 21 there in the third. I thought our guys competed early, probably to close the second quarter, and we had a little bit of competitive spirit in the third quarter, but give them credit. We struggled with Chicago all year. For whatever reason, the matchup does not fit our group. Give them credit. We move on.
It was a miserable night for rookie LaMelo Ball. He was just 1 of 10 from the field and finished with 4 points. The Hornets are hosting New Orleans tonight. Alex DeBrincat beat Peter Mrazek at 2:02 of overtime and helped the Chicago Blackhawks rally past the NHL-leading Hurricanes 2-1 last night. The OT loss snapped the Canes' 5-game win streak, but extended the number of games in which they earned at least 1 point to 13. Head coach Rod Brindamore says last night's game was a mess, and they may end up a better team because they lost.
100%. Totally. Like we needed to, get our butts kicked, to be quite honest with you. Just so we can show like this is not how it works. Right. And I say that, and we still probably had the same, maybe close to the same amount of good scoring opportunities, but it's just not, good enough. We can't play like that, certainly, next week. That's for sure. So I get it. It's tough. The guys have done a great job all year to get us in this position. But, if you just do it how we always talk about it, just worrying about today, that was not a good game.
The Canes will go to Nashville to end the regular season with a pair of road games against the Predators. This is NCN Sports.
Ah, the beautiful sounds of the outdoors. Birds
bees, and battery power made by Steel. The quiet, powerful way to turn a backyard into a baseball field or a night at the movies. Steel has all the outdoor handheld tools you need, from trimmers to chainsaws to mowers and blowers. Lightweight tools with zero exhaust emissions that make work a breeze and help you enjoy a breeze. Listen up, America. It's time to pick up Steel AK battery-powered homeowner tools, starting at just $199.99. Not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. You'll only find Steel at over 10,000 local dealers. Battery power, made by Steel. Find yours at steelbattery.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
More fallout in the NHL after the New York Rangers fired the top two people in their front office. The league came down with more punishment.
The Rangers have been fined $250,000 by the NHL for criticizing head of player safety George Parros. The team commented after the league fined but did not suspend Washington's Tom Wilson for his role in a scrum that injured Rangers star Artemi Panarin on Monday. Also, the league has handed Rangers forward Pavel Buchnevich a one-game suspension for cross-checking Capitals forward Anthony Mantha in the second period of Wednesday's rematch. Buchnevich was one of two Rangers who were sucker punched by Wilson on Monday. I'm Dave Ferry.
Round two of the Wells Fargo Championship underway at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. Phil Mickelson is the clubhouse leader after Thursday's opening round. He opened with 8 birdies and a 64 for a 2-shot lead. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Remember to shop local businesses. A reminder from Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
This is Bob Bonville of Griswold Home Care of Pinehurst. Over the past several years, we have grown substantially. Here's one of the reasons why. Dorothy of Pinehurst wrote, quote, "After Dad died, I talked to Mom about moving to a retirement home, but she wanted to stay in her own home. After calling the office, the meeting with you, Mom, and myself, we all agreed on the care that fit her needs, and it worked out beautifully," end quote. Call me, Bob Bonville, at 910-420-2360. That's 910-420-2360, or go online to griswoldhomecare.com/Pinehurst.
At Pool Automotive, being local and family-owned isn't just a title. It's the lifeblood of our business. The moment you walk into our Aberdeen showroom, you'll be treated like family. You see, we believe that all our guests deserve quality, reliable used vehicles, and we have the inventory and finance options to make it happen. When you buy a new vehicle, the second you drive it off the lot, it's already depreciated by thousands. Before you throw that money away, come to Pool Automotive and check out our huge selection of premium vehicles. We have high-quality, off-lease vehicles, most of which are one-owner cars with low mileage and remaining factory warranties. Something else we do to save you even more? We don't charge documentation fees. Yep, you heard us right. No doc fees here. Come in today, 500 South Sandhills Boulevard in Aberdeen, or call 910-637-0057 and experience the Pool Advantage.
Just go together, like bread and butter, blue jeans and Saturdays, best friends and phone calls. And a great match? You and discounts from Erie Insurance. It's like this. Safety features in your car will have you paying less for your auto insurance. And pay off your Erie auto policy all at once, and you'll save up to 7% more. On your homeowner's policy, you earn discounts that start at age 46 and go up each time you celebrate a birthday. There are more discounts, too, for things like home safety features and even teenage drivers. And the savings keep adding up. When you have your auto and home covered with Erie, you get a discount. Buy a life policy with us, and the savings can get even better. At Erie Insurance, above all in service means making life a little easier on you and on your wallet. Your Erie agent in Moore County is Carthage Insurance Agency. Get a quote at 910-947-2957.
Discount terms and amounts may vary by state. See your local Erie agent for details.
Get moving and grooving again at the Greens at Pinehurst. Our physical and occupational therapy and skilled nursing services are the best in the area. And it's because we put the focus where it belongs, on you. With daily routines and a comprehensive activity schedule, there'll be no stopping you. Call 910-295-1781 today or visit the Greens at 205 Rattlesnake Trail in Pinehurst. That number again is 910-295-1781. The Greens at Pinehurst. Get your groove back on.
Over the past several years, WEEB has been telling you about Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services. During that time, Sherry and Howard Hoke have experienced a large increase in their business because of their beautiful paved driveways and much more. Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services offers patching, excavation, and drainage issue solutions, crack filling, seal coating, and striping for both residential and commercial. And now they have added concrete, pouring sidewalks, driveways, curbs, and gutters, pads, as well as pavers. Estimates are free, and they will come to your property to assess your needs. No job is too big or too small. Go online to slcontractingllc.com or the Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services Facebook page showing photos and customer reviews. So, call 910-673-1318. Active duty military will receive a 10% discount. 910-673-1318.
The Generator Guys at Carolina Power and Generators want to remind you that spring is the perfect time for maintenance on your whole home generator. Our extensive 35-point maintenance service keeps your generator performing at its best all summer long. So when the storms roll in and the trees tumble down and inevitably the power goes out, you can stay safe in your home as your whole home generator kicks in automatically. So if you've been thinking about installing a whole home generator, call Carolina Power and Generators for a free in-home assessment at 910-241-4677. Be prepared for whatever life throws your way with a whole home generator from Carolina Power and Generators. Call today, 910-241-4677, or visit GeneracNC.com. Don't be left in the dark next time there's a power outage. Power up today with a whole home generator from Carolina Power and Generators. 910-241-4677.
WEEB Radio welcomes our new friends at SLN News, the monthly publication celebrating its 5th year and now reaching over 24,000 readers. It is mailed and distributed in racks throughout the Sandhills in 3 editions: Pinehurst Town Crier, Southern Pines Today, and the flagship Seven Lakes News. Ads start at only $89. Give them a try for a month. Never a contract. Call Vicki at 910-685-0320 or go to sevenlakesnews.com.
Give your desk and your back an upgrade. Turn any old workstation into a sit and stand workstation with an Alera raised desktop from Sandhills Office Supply. With easy access levers for simple adjustments, this space-saving design is affordable too. Experience the benefits of an Alera lifting workstation with a demo at Sandhills Office Supply on US 1 in Southern Pines next to Smithfield's Barbecue.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Pride Plumbing is proud to serve Moore County with superior workmanship and dependable plumbing service, including 24/7 emergency service. Like the name says, we take pride in our work and your safety. Our employees must pass background and drug tests and share Pride Plumbing's reputation for quality service. From simple leaky faucets to new water heaters and sewer lines, backflow testing and installation, drain cleaning, plumbing repairs, and, if necessary, replacement and remodeling. A family business with over 50 years of prideful service. Go online to callprideplumbing.com and check out our 5-star customer reviews. We offer a 10% discount to all veterans and active military. Call Pride Plumbing of Moore County at 910-295-0152. 910-295-0152. Serving with pride since 1965.
As our economy gradually reopens, remember to support local.
Know you're doing the right thing and stay proud.
Be a part of the greatest comeback of all time with Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is brought to you by Quality Built Homes, the Sandhills' #1 home builder, developer, and remodeler. With over 1,500 homes built in Moore County, we earn our name every day. Quality Built Homes, 910-944-7453.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. This is a heroic story. It's about a liberal Democrat who's taken up for a minority group. Congressman Ron Kind, representing a district in Wisconsin, was renting to a business. His Republican opponent, a former Navy SEAL, has accused the congressman of renting to a group making money off of, let's just call it, women offering men favors for a fee. The name of the place is Asian Sunny Massage. Asian Sunny Massage advertises on a website catering to men looking for a happy time. It's a place that exploits young Asian women. According to Fox News, at one point the place advertised they had a new young massager. Massager's their word. Congressman Kind said these stories are a sad attempt to use politics in its worst way, and in doing so hurt an Asian American operated business in the process. Asian Sunny Massage runs a perfectly legitimate business. Yeah, it does. He even said he's worried about police lives because now they're patrolling the place more often, and he feels like it puts them in danger. He is a kind man. He's worried about these young Asian women trying to make money in a legitimate business, and said in this time of attacks on Asian people, it's a terrible thing to do. So ladies, if your husband's credit card ever has a charge to Asian Sunny Massage, don't you worry about a thing. Congressman Kind vouches for them. If the place gets busted, watch how quick he turns on cops. Have a good day.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. We're seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area for today. Those will continue through the afternoon and also into the early evening, tapering off, though, overnight tonight. Some of those storms can be on the stronger side, and if they become severe, damaging winds and hail, all potential threats today. Highs in the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. We're drier Saturday with highs around 70. Mother's Day Sunday, beautiful with highs around 80. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Wake up, kid.
What might this year be?
Is it Friday already?
Yeah, Friday it is.
Oh, thank God it's Friday, right?
And I'm also well aware that today is Friday.
They tell me you're some kind of entertainer.
Attention, everyone. The entertainment has arrived.
Do you do a lot of entertaining?
You know it, baby.
Okay, well, let's get it started then.
Then you know what time it is, huh?
Sure.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. You're listening to Mornings with the LeaderMan, and we're finally to Friday. Everybody try to rejoice because, yes, it's raining, but it's still going to be a great day out there. Temperatures will be fabulous. I'm not going to talk much because John Zumwalt, who's back with me this hour, has a guest in the studio. Jeff is still here to chime in his 2 cents worth, so I'm going to turn the microphone over to you guys and let you introduce your guest.
Yeah, hey, get your coffee going and get your apple fritters out. And, I usually stay quiet unless John falls asleep or something. I might have to jump in here.
Yeah, just prod him. He'll be okay.
Well, actually, that happens quite a bit. I fall asleep a lot. But we have a great guest today. His name is Judge Richard Dietz. He is currently on the North Carolina Court of Appeals, which is the second highest court in our state, and he's running for the Supreme Court. I really hope that you'll think about coming down to the marketplace today about 9:15, 9:20. Judge Dietz will be there to meet you. He'll be there to answer your questions, and I'll buy you a cup of coffee when you get there. Now, I'm going to say good morning to Judge Dietz. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
And I'd like to follow up with just briefly a little bit about yourself, where you went to school, and I know that you were the first one in your family to graduate from college. And just tell us a little bit about your background, just so briefly, so we can get on with the questions.
Sure. So I'm from, I sometimes say a mountain family. So I've got a. Thank you. Just adjusting the microphone here so you folks can hear me.
No, you don't have to slouch quite so bad.
There
Sorry
we
about
go.
that.
Yeah, try that when he's on the bench,
right.
Dorothy.
Hey.
Yeah, so like you said, I was the first in my family to go to college, but I was interested in the law, so I went on to law school at Wake Forest and graduated, and then I started...
I believe you graduated first in your class.
That's right. That's something I usually let other people point out.
Okay. And we didn't rehearse this.
That's right. But I did real well in law school and went on. I have a master's degree from Duke. But what really inspired me to get into the law was just, I thought, lawyers often help people, and I was interested in the law, but I always was interested in appeals. So I saw, those pictures of folks standing in places like the U.S. Supreme Court arguing, and I thought, man, that'd be cool to do that someday. And that's what I did as a lawyer. I did a lot of constitutional work. I defended people's constitutional rights in courts all over the country. And so I was doing that for a number of years until Pat McCrory became the governor. And as you know, when there's a vacancy in the appellate courts like the Court of Appeals, it's the governor that fills that vacancy, if a judge retires or quits, and then that person has to run in the next election. So that's how I ended up a Court of Appeals judge. Is Governor McCrory appointed me to fill a vacancy. This is way back in 2014. And so I ran in 2016. I was on the ballot, got elected by the people of North Carolina, so I've been enjoying a full term here on the Court of Appeals.
What has inspired you to run for Supreme Court?
I spend a lot of time thinking about the Constitution, and I'm an expert, not just in the U.S. Constitution, but remember, there's 51 constitutions. Every state has their own constitution. We've got a lot of really special stuff here in North Carolina. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized there's a lot of folks, even judges, who don't even understand the rights we have in our state constitution. And I just said to myself, I'm ready to take that next step. I love being a Court of Appeals judge, but I understand how important it is to defend people's rights, and I'm ready to take that to the Supreme Court where, that's the big time. That's where they take the most important cases our state's ever going to hear, and I'm ready to go up there and defend our rights.
Well, Judge, Moore County is a very, very conservative county. We always elect Republicans. We always elect conservatives. And we are sick and tired of judges legislating from the bench. And a good example, the best example, is probably voter ID. And we want to make sure that we have got a judge that will rule according to the rule of law, not what he thinks. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so this is one of the things I fight with the most with the progressive legal thinkers and the progressive judges that I encounter when I'm debating them on these things. It concerns me. I've never seen it as aggressive as I think it is today, this view with progressive judges that one of the things judges can do is reshape our society, even if we the people didn't agree to that. If our lawmakers didn't pass a law that says this, if there's not something in the Constitution that creates a certain right, you just have judges. They sort of feel like, the Constitution starts out with "we the judges," and they'll say, we want to move things along, so we'll go ahead and find some rights, or we'll interpret the law in a way that it's not what's right there, written in black and white on the page, but it's what we think we ought to do. And that really concerns me. That's not the deal our founding fathers had when we created this nation. The idea was we the people will agree to this. So I am very concerned about the idea that there's judges out there that want to use the law to kind of shape the world the way they want it to be. That's not what judges do. We interpret the law. We don't make the law.
Well, I think one of the problems that we have is that not only do the judges, the progressive judges, use their what they'd like to see, but we've accepted that as a people. We've kind of gotten used to that, and we don't. A lot of folks don't realize that is wrong. A judge, it would be like a police officer putting a constitution in his pocket and just willy-nilly going throughout the neighborhood interpreting laws the way he wanted it to be. And as you and I both know, we have 3 branches of government, and they have very distinct roles. And what do you see the role of, this is a very elementary question, I realize that, ladies and gentlemen, but what do you see the role of a judge, especially a Supreme Court judge, to be?
Yeah, you said it's an elementary question, but I think it's a fundamental question. It's one of the most important things about the way we created a society with these 3 branches of government, is making sure that there are checks and balances on each other, but no one branch of government is supreme over the others. And what we're seeing so often is this idea some judges have that you kind of feel like you're the king of the world. The things we can do, we can look at the other branches, what the legislature or what the executive branch is doing, and say, hey, that's unconstitutional, you can't do that. We can even enter, they call them injunctions, we can send the law enforcement over there and say, you do what we tell you, you're going to jail. It's a tremendous amount of power. And so what's important is for us to understand, what do we do with that? And what we do with it is we interpret the law when there's disputes about what the law means, and then we defend our constitutional rights. I mean, that's what our founding fathers understood would be the role of judges, is that we would create a system where the judges would make sure that the other branches of government weren't going too far. I mean, the fear that the framers, that's what we call the people who wrote the Constitution, their fear was another king, that there would be some sort of tyranny. And they said, how can we stop that? Well, we'll create this branch of government that's there to say to the others, we have a constitution that says you can't do this. But that power for some judges can mean, hey, I wish the world was different, so I'm going to go ahead and change it. And that's dangerous. I mean, once you step over that line, we've gone too far. We're not doing what we want judges to do anymore. We're becoming like that king, and that's troubling.
Well, we also have a fear of having another king, and in fact, we believe that fear has been realized in our current governor. Now, you will often hear in different meetings that we attend and going out to eat with folks, and you'll hear something like this. Why doesn't the court, why doesn't one of the courts or judges do something about this? And it's hard for some folks to understand, why doesn't a judge just step up and blah, 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 whatever. Can you explain in language that we could all understand how that works? Why can't you? And then what it takes for that to happen. Someone has to file please, if we could hear that in your words.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were headed right to the answer there, which is, of course, we don't reach out and just decide things. In fact, there's a whole bunch of cases out there that talk about how judges aren't allowed to do that. We don't want judges just saying, I think I'm going to go ahead today and just make an announcement about what I think the law is. Instead, we wait until there's a dispute, and we call those lawsuits. They come to the courts, and then that's when we have to interpret the law, decide what the law is, decide if someone's rights are being violated, those sorts of things. And yeah, so we need that case to come before us. I actually wrote an academic paper. Elon University published it. It's going to be coming out soon about our state constitution, in which I point out one of the reasons that some very amazing rights that we have in North Carolina that no one else in America has, only our founding fathers created these rights for us. They don't mean much anymore, and part of the reason is there weren't enough lawsuits. People weren't coming in and saying, hey, I've got this right to, let's say, just and equitable taxation, as an example. And there just weren't many lawsuits about it, and then over time, people kind of forgot. And then when judges did have to decide what these provisions mean, they did remember what our framers intended. So I do think it's very important that people know their rights. If your rights are being violated, you need to go talk to a lawyer, for sure. And that's part of how the system brings these cases to courts where we can hear them.
I'm kind of glad to hear you mention that lawsuits need to be filed. That's very important. There was a time when I was a kid, and you weren't born, that lawsuits were frowned upon. You were frowned upon if you filed lawsuits. A good friend of mine here in Moore County files lawsuits often against cities, and he always wins. And it's folks like him who are keeping things lawful, because otherwise you have unelected bureaucrats who just feel like they can do anything. All right, I want to ask you this question. The court packing of the U.S. Supreme Court has a lot of folks worried. I used to laugh at it. I actually believed that this couldn't be done because it was unconstitutional. But apparently I was wrong. Can you discuss that?
So, first let me say, I don't think the Democrats who talk about court packing are serious, and I'll tell you why. So I think economists call this game theory. It's when you think about, okay, if we do something, what's the other side going to do? So let's say that right now there's a Democratic president, there's Democratic Congress. They tried to pack the courts and they were successful and added 4 justices, let's say. What's going to happen next? Well, as soon as we have a Republican president and a Republican Congress again, they're adding 4 more. And pretty soon we're going to have 100 justices on the U.S. Supreme Court. That might be good for me. It's the dream one day. Maybe I'd be on the U.S. Supreme Court. So if they had 100 seats, maybe I'd have a shot. You don't have to be a lawyer. There's been Supreme Court justices before that they weren't lawyers, so we could have Chief Justice someone here or something like that.
You know what? All of a sudden I'm in favor of this. Just briefly, what is how do you add justices to the Supreme Court? I used to think, before I read it, that that number was set by the Constitution and had to be ratified by a certain number of states, and that's not right.
So here's an interesting bit of history. So in North Carolina, it's in our state constitution. So we have 7 justices on our state Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court has 9. Our state constitution says we can increase the number from 7 to 9. So it is in the state constitution. But there is a debate about what can happen in the U.S. Constitution, and there's been in the past attempts to pack the court because there is no limit like that in express words like we have in our state constitution. And again, that's sort of the concern is what happens here is, remember, what's important about the U.S. Supreme Court justices and other federal judges is they're in for life. When they're nominated and then confirmed by the Senate, they keep that job unless they're impeached. So we're talking about putting people in office for a very long time. And that's why it's so important, I think, that we're reasonable at these things. And I don't really think the court packing is going anywhere. It seems to me like something people want to hear. And in politics these days, you often just tell people what they want to hear. So that's my take on that.
Another question for you. The Second Amendment is very important in Moore County. We are Second Amendment people. Now, I say Second Amendment as opposed to gun rights because I want to make sure that you are able to talk about the law and Constitution, and not necessarily how you feel about guns, but rather how you will rule. Not how you will rule. I don't want to get you in trouble, but talk about the Second Amendment. It's probably the second most important issue here in Moore County.
Yeah, so here's a safe way for me to talk about it, because as you mentioned, and just so folks understand, I do need to be careful never to talk about a case that could come before me, because I wouldn't want to have to step aside and say, oh, I've talked about this on a radio show. But I'll tell you a story. So I defended the Second Amendment and gun owner rights quite often when I was a constitutional lawyer. I actually argued a case in the U.S. Supreme Court about gun owner rights. Now, there's only a handful of folks who are alive in North Carolina today who have stood in the U.S. Supreme Court and argued, and I was there once with a gun case. This was during the Obama administration. As you know, if you buy a long gun, like a hunting rifle, you've got to fill out some paperwork from that gun dealer when you buy it. If you go home and your neighbor comes over later in the week and says, hey, it's a nice looking gun, what do you want for it? If you sell it to your neighbor, you don't have to fill out any paperwork, and you don't have to do a background check. So the Obama administration, the ATF at the time, didn't like that. So I had a case up there with some briefs that came in for support from folks like the NRA or Gun Owners for America saying, look, this is okay. You should be able to buy guns and sell them to other law-abiding citizens without having a bunch of paperwork. And that was really what the case was about. I learned a lot then about what gun control advocates are really trying to do. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is oftentimes there were compromises in some of our gun laws. They say what they say, and there are folks that aren't happy about that and say, well, if we can't get the Congress to do anything about it, maybe we can get the courts to read the law in a different way than what's right there in black and white, the words on the page. And again, that's not something judges should be doing. We interpret the law. We don't write the law the way a legislature does, and that's important.
Well, I just got a question texted to me, and I know that you are an expert on the North Carolina as well as our Constitution of the United States. But this one's about our state constitution, and I'll read it verbatim. It says the state constitution says elections must be fair. What does that mean in terms of redistricting, ballot harvesting, and other things liberals want? In the hands of liberals, isn't this clause dangerous?
Well, I shouldn't talk about that because, as you can imagine, that could be a lawsuit.
Yeah.
So let me answer the question this way. Two things. First thing I love about the fact that you just got that text question is I think people don't read our state constitution enough. And so I'm glad to see there are folks thinking about it and taking a look at that. There's all kinds of amazing rights that we have in our state constitution.
Can you talk about that when you finish this? Go ahead.
Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say is, and a lot of those have to do with these ideas that our founding fathers, the framers of our state constitution, said there are certain things that need to be fair. And so you'll find that, for example, when we have what's called the access to courts clause, it says to people, we can't close the courts. Courts shall be open. That's an example. They knew how important it would be for people to go in if they've got a grievance and be able to get in front of a judge and have their case heard. And so you can see this idea of fairness. And also I describe it as anti-favoritism or anti-cronyism, they sometimes call it. There's this theme in our state constitution of the government doesn't get to come in and pick sides. They don't get to say, you over here, you're the winners, we like you, and you folks over here, you're the losers. You don't see that in other constitutions. I think it's remarkable. But yeah, so I'll give you a few other examples. This is one of my favorites. They took the language from Thomas Jefferson, the Declaration of Independence, the inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are rights in our state constitution. But then they added a fourth. They said the people here in North Carolina, we also have the inalienable right to the enjoyment of the fruits of our own labor. That's the language. It's really wonderful if you think about it, because what they understood was you have to have economic power in our society to really be free. And And they said, so we're not going to let the government come in and say, hey, you can't do this job, you can't work and earn a living, we're going to put all kinds of rules in place. That's what the folks who wrote those words into our Constitution, that's what they were thinking, is let's make sure there's a level playing field, because we believe North Carolinians get out there, they'll compete, and they'll prosper. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It says a lot about our state.
I'm probably the only person that's heard you say that doesn't really truly understand how that might affect a person who's listening, or myself. You get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Do you have a case or two that even if they're hypothetical, that you can tell us about that would explain that better?
Sure. So I can give you a historical example. There was a board during the New Deal era. If you remember way back when all of a sudden there was government everywhere. That's what happened during the New Deal, remember? So they created the Board of Photographic Examiners here in North Carolina. That's what they called it. If you wanted to take somebody's picture for money, you just want to be a professional photographer, you had to go to the government, show them you knew all these things about photography, and get a license. And our Supreme Court, this is back in the 1940s, I believe, said, no, you can't do that. You're taking someone's picture, you can't say you've got to come and get a license for that. That's something, it's an ordinary occupation. People just do that. So you don't need to go to the government for permission. So that's the sort of things the courts have said, this is what that language means.
Well, I'd say we're pushing that one pretty hard. It seems like everyone has to have either a permit or a license or something, but that's just my little commentary.
Well, look, it's part of what inspired me to run for the Supreme Court. Is I think you're right. Again, we've got these amazing rights in North Carolina, but people are not thinking about them, talking about them, studying what they mean. And I just said to myself, where's the most important place to be if you're going to become an expert on this stuff? And it's the Supreme Court. So.
Well, we've got I believe also, in addition to the Second Amendment, we've got a pretty big problem with the First Amendment. We're seeing, obviously, our president being horribly censored. I don't understand really how they can get away with that, but that doesn't matter. What matters is they did it, and how do we fight this First Amendment shutdown we're seeing?
Yeah, so when I see this happening, I often try to describe to people this thing they teach us as lawyers in law school, this trick. So, if the other side's got a really good argument, you're going into court, what do? You say to the judge, Your Honor, they're not allowed to make that argument. You look for some way to say, oh, they didn't do it on time. They didn't make the right argument, so you don't listen to them. Why do you do that? Well, if you only hear one side, then you're probably going to win. So I think progressives in our society have kind of figured that out and thought, hey, maybe we can win the political debate by doing this. Just try to keep the other side from ever being heard. And that is very dangerous. So, and again, I keep going back to our state constitution, but it's such a wonderful document. But we've got language in there about that. The whole idea that our founders had when they created free speech, but also lots of these other principles, was they understood if we have what we call open debate and discourse, the good ideas always rise to the top. So they wanted to ensure that we'd always have that in America. And it does worry me that we're seeing so many people now that want to silence one side, because that suggests to me they're afraid to have that debate.
Well, you're not going to like this next text at all. A fellow texted in, I know him, wants to know how he can donate money to your campaign. So do you have a campaign address you can give us? And
I do. So it's judgedietz.com.
Would you mind spelling Dietz?
That's what I was going to say. It's D-I-E-T-Z. So it's like diet with a Z on the end. Judgedietz.com. And you can find all kinds of things about me there. And I've also got some really interesting little cartoon videos. You can see a cartoon version of me there on the website. I've got a series that teaches folks a little bit about the court system. So go ahead and watch those if you're interested in learning more.
Oh, come on, Judge. You're running for Supreme Court and you want us to watch cartoons? Now, come on. You're trying to get my vote.
I'm trying to get people to the website. But I also want folks to understand our courts. These judicial races are so important. And I know people are busy. I just want them to take a minute or two and learn about how important it is to care about judges in these elections.
The average person, I would say, is not real familiar. They've got their lives they've got to live, and they don't have time to look into all these things, so they may not be familiar with the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals as far as how you get there. Like the average guy might say, okay, this guy just ran into my car, and I lost my case in the municipal court I went to, whatever it was, district court. So I'm going to appeal this to the Supreme Court, to the Court of Appeals, and then the Supreme Court. And that's not quite how it works. Would you explain to us?
Sure. So the Court of Appeals, the court I'm on right now, we hear appeals from all 100 counties, but as you mentioned, not everything can be appealed. So everything that happens in the court system doesn't end up in the Court of Appeals. It tends to be the pretty important stuff. that ends up, so serious criminal trials, people who are hurt really badly in accidents and things like that. Real important cases come to the Court of Appeals. And then from there, our state Supreme Court, just like the U.S. Supreme Court, you never have a right to go there. They're called courts of discretionary review. So there's only a few types of cases where you're going to the Supreme Court. And every other type of case, they pick and choose the really important ones. So to the folks that say I'm taking this all the way to the Supreme Court, I always feel a little bad when I hear that, because it's almost like winning the lottery to make it to the Supreme Court. You've only got maybe 1% chance to get there. So if your case makes it to the Supreme Court, it's because it's really important.
Now, to get to the Court of Appeals, does the appeal have to be based upon a matter of law, or can it just be that, okay, well, I don't really think the jury liked this guy, or this guy wasn't dressed, he didn't have good whatever? Does it have to be a matter of constitutional law or?
Right. So they sometimes call us at the Court of Appeals an error-correcting court, but all that means is we're looking for errors that were made by the trial judges. And a legal error in the trial court. So sometimes something folks misunderstand is we never have juries or anything like that at the Court of Appeals. Once you get to the appellate court, all those questions about, was the traffic light green or was it red when there was that car accident? Somebody else has made that decision, and we don't do those sorts of things. We just look through the case and say, were there any legal errors? Because we want to make sure everything that happened there at that trial was fair.
So any appeal that gets as far as you has to be based upon some type of error, legal error. And otherwise, it's not going. You won't see it.
That's right, and I think lawyers sometimes have to have tough talks with their clients about that, because what they really want is a do-over when you've lost, and that's not quite how it works. Coming up to the appeal, you've got to have some reason to say there was an error that was made by the trial, and that's at the trial court, and that's why we're coming up for appeal.
And then when it gets to you and it goes to the Supreme Court, which you may be sitting on soon, and if they lose or win in the Supreme Court, that is it. In the state of North Carolina, they're done.
That's right, for state questions. And then if it's a federal question, you go to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, one of the things that is really griping folks is this. A police officer shoots someone, and no matter the details for the purposes of our conversation, that police officer gets charged, and then he goes to trial. But everyone in America knows that if they find him not guilty, and it doesn't really matter if he's guilty or not, if they find him not guilty, the country will burn. And I believe, and I think I speak for a lot of folks, that it's very difficult to get a fair trial when you know that there are going to be riots. They've told you they're going to be riots. They've told you better find him guilty. How do you see this going? Is this going to go away? Is this going to stop? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but do you worry about these things?
Yeah, so the thing for me, as you can imagine, is I deal with a lot of cases of really serious violent criminals, and my name's on those decisions that are in those law books saying this person, you stay in jail for 20 years, 30 years, you're staying in jail for the rest of your life. Every day I walk from my car into the courthouse, I go home to my house, and I'm scared. I know someone could take a bullet for me, and that's those law enforcement officers. I can't imagine doing that job day in and out, having the courage to do that in that public service. And so I think we can have a conversation about police reform, sure, but we need to understand what those folks go through and be understanding of that. And what concerns me most is people using this as a political tool, criticizing our law enforcement officers, and to score political points without understanding how tough that job is.
Well, we love our cops here in Moore County. And Judge Dietz, I want to tell you, I really appreciate that you would take time to come here to Moore County to speak to us and to meet the people of Moore County. It says a lot about the fact that you care for those folks here. And of course, you're looking for votes, but you're allowing us to question you and talk to you and see what kind of a judge you would be. I hope you'll come out to the marketplace. We're going to leave here as soon as we're through, and Judge Dietz will be there to meet you. He's got to meet some other folks afterwards, but I really hope you'll show up. A free cup of coffee, and just put on a pair of shorts or blue jeans or whatever you feel like wearing. It'll be just fine. And thank you again, Judge, for meeting with us.
It was great to be here. Thank you.
Oh, what was that website again that people can go learn a little bit more about you just before we go?
Sure. I'm Judge Richard Dietz, and my website is judgedietz.com.
That sounds great. We'll have to, hopefully everybody will go out despite the rain and
shake your hand, meet you, let them, get the word out. It's Friday. The day is done. The week is over. And I am signing off. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And don't forget your mothers. That's Sunday.
When I come back, you'd better be laughing.
So, what have we learned? Heck, I don't know. But this is one crazy show. Bye now.
Cut! That's it. Go home, everybody. None of this ever happened. Well, y'all come back now, you hear?
I think we're through here.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, man. That's pretty much all I got, man. Okay, class dismissed. Rock on!
Well, let me tell you something. Everything comes to an end.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sandhills, 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst,
Breaking news
Aberdeen.
this hour from Town